This new rule change is going to change the Monaco Grand Prix forever. So it's no secret in recent years the Monaco Grand Prix has become really boring. The cars are way too big for the circuit now and changes do need to be made. Therefore, the FIA have made it mandatory for at least everyone to make 2 pit stops during a race, which has got some mixed reviews on social media. I see the good things about this rule change, however, I also see where people are coming from with the bad things. Monaco is the most famous race in F1. When people talk about F1 circuits, they think about Monaco. It's been on the calendar every single season since F1 started, and F1 would be missing out on a huge part of its history if Monaco was not to be there. Monaco's not like any other track where if the circuit doesn't provide good racing, the FIA can just say, well, this circuit isn't good enough, we're going to get rid of it and replace it with another one. They can't do that with Monaco because of how historic it is. I'm quite glad the FIA are planning on changing Monaco quite a bit because I can't lie, I don't really enjoy watching a race in Monaco that much. Qualifying's a bit of a different story, and I do think these changes do need to be made. I think by the FIA making it mandatory for each driver having to make at least 2 pit stops, it opens up more strategy options for the drivers. Around Monaco, tyre wear's never really been that bad, and I honestly think if teams were able to, they wouldn't even make a pit stop during a race because track position in Monaco is just so key. And with it being near enough impossible to overtake in Monaco, drivers will be like, well, we might as well stick for track position because even if our tyres go dead and the driver behind us has brand new tyres, they're not going to be able to overtake us, so what's the point in pitting? This new rule gives teams a chance to pull off an undercut or an overcut. Now, if you don't know what that is, an undercut is basically when, let's say now Lando Norris was driving behind Max Verstappen, he's about 1 or 2 seconds behind. Lando Norris then pits before Max Verstappen, and then by the time Lando Norris has come out the pit lane, driven back around the track, he would have gained enough time with Max Verstappen for when he pits, he will come up behind Lando Norris. And an overcut is kind of a similar thing, however this time Lando Norris would pit after Verstappen, and then let's say now Verstappen gets caught in traffic or he doesn't warm his tyres up enough, then Lando Norris will gain time on him, and then when he comes in to make his pit stop, he comes out ahead of Verstappen. Some people are concerned that this is a bit odd, and I do understand where that is coming from. Tyre strategies are one of the most interesting parts about F1. It's always interesting where we see one driver only make 1 pit stop, however another driver competing against that driver in a race makes 2. Let's look at Spa for example last season when George Russell made that 1 pit stop and Lewis Hamilton made 2 pit stops. Because George Russell only made 1 pit stop in that race, it meant Hamilton had to hunt him down. So because Russell only made 1 pit stop, he was leading the race for the last 20 laps. His teammate at the time, Lewis Hamilton, made 2 pit stops and was ahead of Russell before doing so. As Hamilton's tyres were a lot newer and a lot fresher, he was catching Russell very quickly. And by the time we got to the final 3 laps, Hamilton was right behind Russell again, which ended up giving us a really interesting battle. Lewis wasn't able to get ahead of Russell and Russell went on to win the race, however then he got disqualified and Hamilton ended up winning the race anyway. However, that's irrelevant. What I'm trying to say is when one driver only makes 1 pit stop and the other makes 2, it makes the sport more unpredictable, and no one knew who was going to win the race at the end of the Belgian Grand Prix. By making it mandatory to do 2 pit stops, it jeopardizes this strategic battle between teams. Fans feel like drivers should be given as much strategic options as they need because that makes the sport more interesting. And usually I would agree with that. However, as I have said, it is so hard to overtake in Monaco. You're more likely to win the lottery than overtake in Monaco. It's that hard because the track is just so narrow. Even if we see a similar scenario to Belgium last year in Monaco, we still probably know who's going to win the race because the driver who made 1 pit stop will be ahead on track position. And as it's so hard to overtake in Monaco, all the driver ahead has to do is put the car in the middle of the road and just position it perfectly, and the driver behind has no chance of getting past. We kind of saw a similar scenario in Monaco in 2019 when Lewis Hamilton's tyres were absolutely destroyed.
We're going to lose this race, Monaco. I can't look up to the tyres anymore, they're dead.
So Lewis, just thinking about it, if we manage to the same pace as the cars in front and you can still hold Verstappen behind.
I can't keep the car behind, Mono. Can you not see that?
Yeah, no problem, Lewis.
Lewis needs this to...
And Max Verstappen was chasing him down and right behind him for most of the race. However, because Hamilton positioned his car perfectly, Verstappen had no chance of getting past, no matter how many times he tried. And because of that, Hamilton won the race. Whereas on other circuits, say now it was Silverstone, then Verstappen probably would have eased past Hamilton. Overall, something does need to be done to improve the racing in Monaco. This new rule shows the FIA kind of know that, and at least they're trying to do something. I'll be honest, this new rule might not work and we might get our usual 78 lap parade around Monaco when no one overtakes each other, but at least something different is being tried out. I was watching pre-season testing earlier and Karun Chandok was chatting away with Crofty and he made quite a good point, I thought. He mentioned how a lot of land in Monaco is being claimed back, and that maybe F1 should look at building new parts of the track and making the track wider. I think that's a brilliant idea. It's just how would they pull that off? Because obviously Monaco, there's not a lot of space to build new things. It's a really good idea, and I think it's something that should really be looked into. People say F1 should just move away from Monaco completely. However, I completely disagree with that. I think F1 getting rid of Monaco would be like having no World Cup in football. What a lot of fans forget is qualifying in Monaco is genuinely one of the most exciting parts of the season. The cars just get so close to the walls and the drivers are being tested to their absolute limits. One mistake and the chances are you are going to be in the wall. Just because of how exciting qualifying is in Monaco, that's one of the main reasons why I think it needs to stay on the calendar. I'm really glad something new is being tried for Monaco because I'll be honest, it does need it as much as I want it to stay on the calendar. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about this new rule change? Do you like it? Do you not? Subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.